to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if you have just subscribed. Now I did feature on the United stand on the Mark Goldbridge show. Today it was a film in this video to talk about this game. Obviously Everton versus Manchester United at Old Trafford on Sunday. So anybody that's come over from there, thank you very much for subscribing. If you've liked any videos, even if you've watched any videos, thank you very much. I hope you do enjoy the channel. This is going to be the Everton versus Manchester United, or Manchester United versus Everton should I say, preview. The game is on Sunday at Old Trafford. A game that I definitely think Everton can win if we set up correctly and if we set up in a positive format and really attack Manchester United, because they can be hurt. So we'll have a little talk about that in just a minute. So I put my predicted starting 11 up there for you guys to see. I've made a couple of changes that we will specifically talk about in just a minute. So we'll go from the goalkeeper, of course, Jordan Pickford in goal. I've gone for Lucas Digne at left back, the strong centre-back partnership of Michael Keane and Kurt Zouma. Seamus Coleman at right back, which we'll also talk about in a minute. I've gone for Idrissa Gana Gueye and Tom Davies in the centre of midfield, with Bernard playing on the right hand side, Richarlison playing on the left, Gylfi Sigurdsson through the middle, and Cenk Tosun playing as the number 9. So a couple of changes from the team that beat Crystal Palace at home a couple of days ago, specifically Tom Davies coming in for Andre Gomez. I did mention it in my review of the Palace game. I said that I do not think Andre Gomez will start this game. I just don't think he's quite there fitness wise. I don't really think he's ready, to be honest, to compete, you know, 2 90-minute spells, or I know he didn't play 90 minutes against Palace, but start 2 games on the bounce. So I do think he will miss out this game. Don't get me wrong, it's not because he didn't have a good game. I think he was absolutely fantastic against Crystal Palace, my man of the match. But I do think he will sit out of this one, or he will at least be on the bench, and we might see him coming on towards the end of the game. I've gone for Tom Davies to come back in. He is the option. You've got Morgan Schneiderlin, Benny Beningame, who's also coming back into fitness, but I do think it will be Tom Davies who slots back in. In terms of the right wing position, I've taken Theo Walcott out now. This isn't necessarily a decision I think Marco Silva will make. It's just a decision I think, I don't particularly think it should happen. I just think it would be positive if it did. Theo Walcott hasn't particularly performed brilliantly this season. He's had a lot of one-on-one chances that he hasn't managed to score. He has, you know, he missed one against Arsenal, which was a vital chance. He missed one at the weekend as well, which was another massive chance. And I just think that he is a little bit low on confidence and he's maybe struggling this season. I don't know why, I don't know how, but I think he might just be struggling a little bit this season. I've taken him out the squad, like I said. I put Bernard on the right. Now, I know Bernard is a left midfield player. He plays in the left wing. He can play central midfield as well, but I do think he could do a job on the right. And I think with him on the right and Richarlison on the left, with Cenk Tosun up front, Cenk Tosun obviously coming off the bench and getting a goal against Crystal Palace, an all-important goal and a very good finish as well, I think that will benefit Everton. And against a team like Man United, you really do need your quick players that are creating chances and that are putting the ball in the back of the net when they get the chances, because, like I said, talking to the guys from the United stand just before, they said that United will leave the door open and they will allow teams to have chances in the first half, but if you don't take them chances, they will bounce back in the second half and they'll bite you. And that's something we've seen Everton, you know, guilty of this season under Marco Silva, is not taking our chances and then that coming back to bite us. But positive, obviously, mood. Won our last 3 Premier League games, 7 goals scored, only 1 conceded, a penalty save, of course, different goal scorers around the park. So I think if we can set out an attacking mentality and attacking formation and really attack Manchester United and, you know, create their opportunities and make sure that we're putting the ball in the back of the net when we get the chances, I think we can win this game. And I think this is a massive chance to go to Old Trafford and to beat Manchester United. Obviously we had the win under Roberto Martinez with his first season when Brian Oviedo scored that last minute goal. We've had games where we've come close as well. I think we had a game where Jagielka scored quite near the start and then they equalised, you know, right towards the end. I think it was a penalty they scored to equalise right towards the end. But I think this is an opportunity where we can't only just go to Old Trafford and, you know, get a win and maybe sneak a last minute goal like we did then, but I think we can really dominate Manchester United and we can score 2 or 3 goals and show that, you know, we are a team that should be feared in this league and we are a team that are going to challenge for the top 5 or 6. And, you know, obviously we've had the games now, Crystal Palace, Fulham, Leicester, where you look at and you think, okay, we should be winning, and we have been winning, no complaints. this is a game now where if we go and we beat Man United at Old Trafford and we do it quite convincingly, you're thinking, okay, Marco Silva's onto something here. We're not just defeating the teams that we should be defeating, we're defeating the bigger teams in their backyard as well, which, you know, gives us a massive platform to go on with the coming fixtures that are obviously looking really, really hard. We've got Liverpool in December time, we've got Tottenham coming up as well. I think massive fixtures coming up. We can get a win at Manchester United, which is more than possible at this time with everything that's going on there with Mourinho and the board and their players not playing and their fans jumping on the back. I think it's a massive, massive opportunity to get 3 points on Sunday, and I really do think we can do that. So like I said, I have made a couple of changes to this team. We'll talk about them now. Bringing Tom Davies in, I briefly mentioned it before. I just don't think that Andre Gomes is going to be ready to start the game again. He hasn't played professional football for a very long time. He hasn't even played in an Everton shirt other than the game against Crystal Palace. He was really good against Crystal Palace, and like I said, he looked calm, he looked composed, he looked forward thinking, he always knew where he was playing the ball, but there was times where you could see his fitness was catching up with him, and more specifically towards the end of his spell, just before he got taken off, you could see he was tired, and you could see that the lack of fitness and the lack of game time was really catching up with him. And I think if you go into a game at Old Trafford against Manchester United and you play somebody that isn't 100% fit, that hasn't played a lot of football, you're automatically putting yourself on a back foot, and that's why I think Tom Davies should come back in and take that central midfield position, be allowed to play a little bit more further forward, have Idrissa Gana Gueye covering the defence of course, and then, you know, Andre Gomes can come off the bench if need be, sort of in the second half, and impact the game that way. I also wanted to talk about Seamus Coleman, big Seamus Coleman. I did predict that he would start against Palace. He of course did. He took the captain's armband again. Just on a side note, I think it's pretty much silly the fact that Seamus Coleman will be the Everton captain now. But he didn't have a fantastic game again. He really didn't impress for me. He didn't do particularly anything wrong. He wasn't awful, but in terms of, you know, bouncing back in the team after an injury, after a poor start to the season anyway, and really proving that you are, you know, the top right back at this club, Seamus Coleman needed the game against Palace to show that, you know, John Joe Kenny was a long way away from a place in this team, and I don't think John Joe Kenny is a long way away from a place in this team. I don't particularly think he's ready yet, but I don't think he's miles away, and Seamus Coleman has only proved that with the performances recently. I know he's had an injury and, you know, you take that into consideration, but especially with the performance against Palace, he's proved that if John Joe Kenny can put up a real fight and improve himself defensively, he could be our right back for the future, not just for the future but for the rest of this season as well. And I think Seamus Coleman will be pressured in January. I do think we will look for a right back, whether it's cover, whether it's somebody to come in and, you know, start every game like we did with Lucas Dean and the Bain situation. I do think we'll be looking at a right back in January, and, you know, it's one of them situations where Seamus Coleman really does need to get his head down. He is a natural leader, and he is, you know, you can see on the pitch he drives the team, but in terms of his attacking play and, you know, breaching forward, it's quite noticeable that John Joe Kenny has been better this season at attacking and putting crosses into the box and getting in dangerous positions. Obviously Coleman is a lot better defensively in my opinion, because he's just a lot more experienced and he understands the league, but there's definitely a fight there for John Joe Kenny to put in. I think if it wasn't a game against Manchester United at Old Trafford where it really does call for players that can't make mistakes, and there's absolutely, you can't have a risk at all, and I think John Joe Kenny is prone to let his man run past him and you know, drift in games. And if you've got someone like Alexis Sanchez, Anthony Martial, even Marcus Rashford on the wing doing that, you can't afford to fall asleep in games, and that's why I think Seamus Coleman will start. But there's definitely a fight there to be had with John Joe Kenny, 100% I think. Now the final change I have made to the team is probably the most controversial, probably the least likely to happen in my opinion, but it's a change that I think would benefit the team, would allow us to play with two players that have performed very well this season, with the exception of the Crystal Palace game where Bernard struggled a bit. I think it's a change that Marco Silva will be considering, and we'll have to see how he reacts in his press conference tomorrow. Obviously I am filming this on the Thursday, this will go up on the Friday. I will be doing a reaction to the press conference on Friday as well, if all goes well. Don't take me word for that, but if all goes well, I'll hopefully be doing a reaction to the press conference. Again, just a couple of minute video just talking about what Marco Silva talked about. But yeah, I do think this is definitely a possibility, and it is Bernard playing on the right hand side and Theo Walcott coming out. Now, I don't want to throw Theo Walcott under the bus here and say, you know, you haven't been good enough, you're not good enough to play in this team, get out, because when he signed last January, from the moment he signed to the end of the season, he was absolutely fantastic. He scored important goals, he created a lot of chances. He is deadly on the ball because he runs, and he runs with pace, and he's very skillful. I just think this season he's been a little bit lackadaisical in his finishing, and he hasn't been on the ball. You know, he missed chances against Arsenal, like I briefly mentioned before, Palace as well, and I think in a game against Manchester United, when you get them chances, especially at Old Trafford, you need to be scored, and you can't afford to be putting the ball, you know, at the keeper's chest or at the keeper's legs. You need to be scoring, and that's why I've put Bernard here, because although we haven't seen Bernard have a real chance, and, you know, obviously Bernard hasn't, you know, scored a plethora of the goals since he's joined either, but I think Bernard will create more chances for a Cenk Tosun or a Richarlison than Theo Walcott will, because Theo is very much based on himself, and, you know, he does create chances, don't get me wrong, but he also creates chances for himself, and this season he just hasn't been clinical enough for me. So I would put Bernard on the right, Richarlison obviously being on the left. It also brings in that, you know, Brazilian flair that we've all grown to know and love. We've seen at Leicester, obviously, for the first goal, Richarlison and Bernard linking up, and if you've got two players that can beat a man on the edge of the box and put a ball into the box, and you've got somebody like Cenk Tosun who is known for headering and is, you know, scored a really good goal against Crystal Palace, and although hasn't been particularly brilliant this season in his goal scoring, we know he can put the ball in the back of the net, and if you've constantly got balls feeding into him, he is going to score, and we really do need to make sure we take our opportunities on Sunday. So yeah, that is my predicted lineup for this game. Just a word on Manchester United. Of course, I fully expect Manchester United to play defensive in this game. No, I'm only joking. Manchester United will likely field Lukaku, who hasn't been particularly brilliant recently, but used to play for Everton and loves to give it the old chest bump. I love Man United, I'm a mercenary, load of crap, so we'll just have to see how that goes. Like I said, he hasn't been performing particularly brilliantly recently, but that doesn't mean he can't score. We know from experience he's a striker that can score a goal pretty much out of nothing, and if you give him the ball in the box, he is very dangerous. Anthony Martial, there's been a lot of talk about him this week as well. I don't know if you guys have seen it, that he's rejected the contract apparently at Manchester United, and that the consequence of that is going to be that he doesn't play on Sunday against Everton. I really do hope that is the case, because Martial has a tendency of scoring against Everton. We've seen it in the semi-final at Wembley, which absolutely broke my heart. I was there. We've seen it before, again, in Premier League games. Anthony Martial loves a goal against Everton. So if we can nullify that and make sure that he isn't playing, then that'll be fantastic. Obviously, you know, you've got the likes of Alexis Sanchez, who hasn't really kicked on as a United player, but is a very good footballer, let's be honest. Marcus Rashford as well, very young and a very good footballer. So I think United's biggest issue at the minute, and I think their biggest weakness, is their defence, and if we can exploit that defence, and if we can make sure that when we are breaking, we're breaking fast like we have been doing, like the Palace game, we're on them, on their toes all the time, and we're attacking forcefully, and we're attacking fast, and we're making sure that when we counter-attack, it's Richarlison, it's Bernard, it's Sigurdsson, it's Tosun, or whoever plays in that centre-forward position that is steaming at Chris Smalling and Eric Bailly, or whoever plays in that centre-back position, and making sure that we put them under pressure, because we can definitely, you know, we can score goals against this Manchester United team. The defence isn't particularly brilliant. Obviously, they've got David De Gea, who's a fantastic goalkeeper, but if you can get past the back four, then, you know, 9 times out of 10 you should be scoring against any goalkeeper in the world, let's be honest, if you're creating the chances. So yeah, I think we can definitely score goals in this game. We do need to be careful about leaking goals, and the fact that we've seen it against Leicester, we've seen it against Palace as well, a couple of times when a ball will come over the top from an opposition player and our centre-halves will split. Now, don't get me wrong, Michael Keane and Kurt Zouma have been fantastic for Everton since they've, you know, created this partnership, and they've been good enough basically to keep someone like a Yerry Mina, £30 million signing from Barcelona, out the team. And for me, I've said this before, I was speaking about this today with a couple of the lads, I don't think Yerry Mina will get in this squad at the minute unless of an injury or he is shoehorned in when he really shouldn't be. I just think Kurt Zouma and Michael Keane, have been fantastic, and there's no way you should break that up. There's no way you should break that partnership just to sort of play a Yerry Mina. I do fear that Marco Silva may go with a 5 at the back and sort of shoehorn Yerry Mina in and have 5, you know, defenders, 3 centre-halves, and sort of go for a nice draw at Old Trafford, which wouldn't be an awful result. But if we can go with the same 4 at the back and the same similar attack and press this team like we pressed against Crystal Palace, like we made sure that the Palace players didn't have the ball for more than 10 seconds without sort of 3 or 4 players around them, like we wore Palace out to the point where, you know, the 3 substitutions come on and they changed the game because they just didn't know what to do, because we brought 3 attacking young players on. You know, obviously Cenk Tosun is around 26, 27, but we brought 3 attacking players on that all have proved that they can score goals in this league and all have proved that they can create chances, and Palace just didn't know how to deal with that. And if we go with the same mentality against Manchester United, which there's no reason why we should change, there's no reason why we should change mentality, there's no reason why we should look at this game and go, okay, let's play a little bit more defensively, let's be a little bit more careful. No, Manchester United can concede goals and they can be beaten, and they can be beaten at Old Trafford. They proved it against West Ham this season. I know we got beat by West Ham as well. Derby County have come from a lower league and beat them. Oh, granted it was on penalties in a cup competition, but they've come and they've beat them at Old Trafford as well. Other teams have been unlucky. Newcastle, who have been the worst team in the league in my opinion this season, went and scored 2 goals against them. Okay, they got beat. Likes of Wolves as well. Brighton, I know it wasn't at Old Trafford, but they come and they've beaten a Manchester United team. And for me, we can beat this Manchester United team if we go out with the attacking mentality, and if the team talk before the game is similar to the team talk at Palace, you know, pressurise, make sure you counter attack and make sure you're creating chances and make sure you're taking them chances. There's absolutely no reason why we can't win this game on Sunday. So yeah, for me it is important that Marco Silva keeps his attacking mentality and make sure that he really drills into the players to create chances and to play out, and to play out with being playing fast football on the ball, on the floor, and counter-attack. And speaking to Mark, obviously from the United stand just before, and he said, if you play football on the floor, fast and counter-attack against Manchester United, you know, you're going to score goals, and that's their biggest weakness. And he said, the thing with Manchester United is they will play 45 minutes. He said you can quite easily go in as a United fan 2-0 down and win the game 3-2 because they come out in the second half, and that's why it's vitally important this game that when we get them chances, if we get them chances in the first half or even in the second half, we take them and we make sure that we're scoring, because okay, you could go in 2-0 up and then end up losing the game, but if you get 3 or 4 chances in the first half and you make sure you score them and you bury the game by half time, and then you can maybe add a little bit of a defensive sort of mentality and bring maybe a defensive midfielder on, or bring a Yerry Mina on sort of 60-70 minutes in just to solidify the victory, then you know, why not do that? Let's not go in with a defensive mindset straight off the mark and just go, okay, they're not performing particularly well, the manager's under pressure, let's go in defensively and hopefully we can come out with a draw. No, let's push them, let's go in with an attacking mentality and let's say, you know what, this is just another team, they're below us in the league, they haven't been brilliant this season, there's a lot of pressure on the manager, there's a lot of pressure on the board, the players haven't been performing particularly well, the fans are jumping on it as well, so let's go and see this like it's another Palace. I know it's Manchester United, it's Old Trafford, it's a massive ground, it's a massive football club, but we shouldn't let that taint us at all. We should just look at this team and think, okay, look at their results this season, the fact that they've leaked a lot of goals, we can definitely beat this team, and let's go at it and let's do that for me. So there are my thoughts on the upcoming Premier League game on Sunday, Everton against Manchester United, 4 o'clock at Old Trafford, another 4 o'clock kick-off on a Sunday. Fantastic, but yeah, like I said, definitely a game that we can win and a game that we should look to attack and we should look to, you know, pressurise Manchester United and really play good counter-attacking football like we've been playing, and let's not be scared of this Manchester United team, because they can concede goals and they can be beaten. And at the way we're going at the minute, obviously 3 wins in his last 3 games, like I said before, 7 goals scored and only 1 conceded. The you know, mentality, the confidence, just the feeling around the team and the club is fantastic. You've got all the work that's doing behind the scenes with Everton in the community. You've just seen today that Everton have set up an open top tour bus at the city with Lucas Dean, Bernard, Andre Gomez, Kurt Zuma all getting involved and all smiles. So the confidence and the team spirit, the morale around Everton Football Club at the minute is fantastic, and there's no reason why we shouldn't go in to this game on Sunday and play like we've been playing and counter-attack Manchester United like we did with Crystal Palace, and make sure that we play fast, attack and attractive football like we have done for the last 3 games. And if Marco Silva gets a win in this game, then it's looking massively positive for Everton, and you can sit back then and think, okay, we beat 3 teams that we probably should have beaten, but now we've gone to Old Trafford and we've beaten Manchester United, and hopefully we've done it convincingly, so now we can push on to the other games now, and there's no reason why we shouldn't, get a result on Sunday. So thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do leave a like. Like I said at the start of the video, thank you very much for all of your support. If you've just subscribed today, if you've been subscribed from day one, I've had loads of lovely comments on the videos recently from a few of the lads saying, good previews, and a lot of guys obviously asking for the instant match reactions as well. So we'll be providing one of them on Sunday as well as for every game in the near future. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do leave a like rating. If you are brave enough to make a score prediction, leave it in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think of my predicted starting 11. Let me know how you think this game will go. Let me know how you think Marco Silva will set up. Do you think we will go and attack them? Do you think we will go and say, you know what, let's have it, we can win this game? Or do you think we'll maybe sit back and take a little bit of a defensive position, which I hope we don't. I don't know whether he will or not. We haven't quite seen it from Marco Silva yet, but I just know we've seen it from previous managers. So hopefully we go and we go all guns blazing and we take our chances, and you know, hopefully we can get the 3 points at Old Trafford. Very confident obviously with the previous results, so hopefully we can get a victory in this game. So thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed, comment down below your thoughts on the game. I will obviously be uploading my review to this game on Monday, so hopefully you guys will join me for that. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys soon on the Mighty Blues.